This is Tucker, and today we're going to go ahead and go over a few things on the old Blue Goose. We're going to try to shorten the front end of it up a little bit so we can get the radiator and everything set back to where we can get some hood clearance and front end clearance and stuff like that. And we're going to go ahead and go over the wheelbase to body location. I'm going to kind of go over a few things on that I've had a few comments from people. And then I'm also going to go ahead and take a little bit better look at the firewall and how the body is actually, mounting to the Roadmaster suspension there, since we didn't really get a good look at that when I first set it down on there because the lighting was pretty poor. So I'm going to try to throw a light in there and let everybody kind of see, get a little bit better look at how I'm planning on mounting it on there. So I'm just going to basically go over quite a bit of little stuff here today, and we'll get started with the front end here and see where we end up. Alright, well here's what we got on the front of this so far. As you can see, the old original core support on the Roadmaster sticking forward a little bit too much here. Quite a bit too much. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get everything shoved back. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem to get everything to still fit in here where we can get the hood shut and the crossbar that holds the hood and the grill and all that stuff in there, where none of that stuff is going to be seen. Like I said in my earlier video, I'm eventually planning on using the original style 57 Chevy core support and inner fenders. But I'm going to go ahead and move this back and set it up this way for now, for I can race that Mustang. And I figured it'd be kind of useful in case any guys out there doesn't really care about using the stock stuff, that wouldn't mind running it this way. So we'll just do it both ways. That way you can have an idea of how it's going to go depending on the option you want to choose. Well, I got that core support completely removed here. That way we can get some room here. I'm going to go in and add a few tabs over here on the inner part of the frame here so I can mount a radiator up here quite a little bit closer. That way when we get the fenders on, when we get the body set down on here the last time, we can go ahead and get the hood and the front valance and everything on here for that race. I'll probably go ahead and put a grill and everything in it just to see how everything fits, in case there's people out there that want to end up running all this original stuff from the Roadmaster. And now we'll go ahead and take a look at the firewall setup. And I'm still on the fence on this. I don't know exactly what I want to do. I've been kind of leaving my options open. But right now, where we left off at, we had the front wheelbase setting a 1/2 inch forward, which if you go back to the Phase 5 video, I kind of explained that the firewall location to the spindle location of the Roadmaster versus the 57 were pretty much dead on. So if you kind of sight down it here, we butt that right up against the stock 57 firewall. We're right at a 1/2 inch. A lot of guys in the comment section think that I should probably go ahead and scoot it forward that 1/2 inch. That way you have almost a full inch of difference in the rear wheel location. That way they say that there's it gives you a little bit more room for bigger tires. And a couple guys said there's actually a kit you can buy that actually relocates the rear end back about 1 inch on the trifives just for that purpose. So a lot of people said that they thought they actually look better with that rear end sitting back. So I decided we're going to go ahead and slide the body forward just to get another look at it that way before we carry on here. And what I did on this, I left the lip where the toe board attaches when I did my test fit here, because I wasn't sure if I was going to go with the original toe board or if I was going to try to graft this Roadmaster firewall in here. And I'll bend this inner fender back here. Just kind of moved it for the last mock-up. Kind of show everybody what we got going on here. But that's what it looks like by leaving the toe board with the Roadmaster. What I was kind of planning on, I was kind of wanting to do that just so I'd have some extra foot room here, because I'm kind of tall, like 6'2", and I figured if I go on them long distance road trips there and get her trimmed out for straight and level flight, I can slide down in the saddle and have a little bit of leg room there. But I'm not sure if that's what I want to go with. I'm not, I guess totally sold on that yet. I figure if I do go that route, I'll probably cut this out and go ahead and put a smoother piece of sheet metal in here just to kind of give it a little cleaner look. But, you know, then you'll have to, of course, come up here and tie everything together. But I'm not totally set on that yet, but I thought I'd go ahead and show everybody kind of how it all set up here. If you do run the original Roadmaster inner fenders, it should work out pretty good. I ended up coming in with a hammer and dolly, just kind of working this down just a little bit in this short area here, and the fender actually fit on there pretty good. So I think what a guy can do is come in and trim this off, and then build him another sheet metal piece that kind of comes back and then ties into this fender. That'll give you protection against the salt and water and everything. So you can kind of have that inner fender, you know, go clear down into here. They actually fit the rest of the fender pretty nice. So it might be an option for people. And another option, like I said, if you go back to that phase 5 I was talking about, if you didn't care to keep the 57 stock firewall or 5, 6, or 7 stock firewall look, you could leave this Roadmaster firewall, because it's more of a smooth firewall. It would actually come up, and if you do set it on the stock, you know, the right on the money dimension there, it'll actually come up and it'll fill this offset here, because the motor actually sets forward probably a good 3 or 4 inches compared to the tri-fives. The reason I left the stock firewall, what I'm anticipating, which is going to be a lot more work, well, not a lot more, but a little bit more work. I think I eventually want to, after I get done with the race and the mock-up, I want to try to use the original stock core support, original inner fenders, and what I want to do is go ahead and bring the motor back kind of close to the stock location, and it's going to be fairly easy. I might have to remove the air conditioning compressor, but other than that, it looks like it's just going to slide right back, and all I'll have to do is pretty much re-drill some holes for the transmission cross member, shorten the exhaust, shorten the dry shaft, and that should be about the size of it. And then, like I said, make some mounts, you know, to relocate the motor back a little bit. But by doing that, the tunnel here is actually a little bit lower on the Roadmaster, since that motor does set forward some. So I think what I'll do is come in here and pie slice a chunk, or just cut a slice right along the inside of this tunnel, right up to the front of this floor mount right here, and literally just bring the tunnel straight up, and then just attach it right here to where I left a little bit of the tunnel with a 57. That way it'll give me plenty of room for the transmission clearance. And then I'll come back in with a little pie cut piece of sheet metal and fill it in. Like I said, a lot of guys might want to go through the extra work. It's not necessary unless you're kind of wanting that stock weight transfer option. Another thing, this tunnel here is actually offset about 1 inch towards the passenger side compared to like 57s, because you know, the motor, transmission, everything was shuffled over there, and that might be kind of a good thing if a guy wants to end up putting like a 8.8 Explorer rear end in one of these cars, because those would be a pretty good rear end to put in here. Supposedly pretty heavy duty. They got 31 spline axles. You can get them pretty reasonable, and most of them have like 373 gear ratios, and a lot of them are like posi-track or limited slip, or, you know, I guess everybody has their term for it for all the different makes, but you know, it's, I think Ford calls them I think it's something lock, I don't know, but anyways, basically you can get you into a cheap limited slip or posi or sure grip rear end by putting that Ford Explorer deal, and the offset of the pinion won't be too bad at all with this floor the way it is. So we'll get in here and do a little bit more measurements. I put a light in here so I can kind of show how it landed down on here, and where, if we slide that over the inch, exactly where it's going to come out with this wheel well location. All right, well, I set a light up in here so we can see a little bit better here. So that was going to get in here. I wasn't able to show everybody very well on the last video of what this looks like, you know, once you get it set down on here. But as you can see, here's that pinch welded area here. Actually, I boogered it up a little bit there when I was tearing it apart. But that's kind of, you can see that, oh, it's about a quarter of an inch, not a little less than a quarter of an inch difference there where those two pinch welds are. So I think a guy can get them together, or like I said, put a little piece of 10 gauge or 1/8 inch material between it, plug drill it, and weld it up, and that should mount the body on there pretty good. And I'll see if I can get in here. Alright, well, we made it back in here through all this bracing. So again, like you can see here, you know, there's your pinch weld area. This is that piece that we broke over, you know, and it sticks up, and then here's your roadmaster piece. So like I said, a guy can just literally stick a piece in here, drill a couple holes every now and then, and pinch it together and weld it. Now we still need to slide this. We're going to slide this forward to where the firewall's dead on. And for guys doing this, you know, there's hardly no way, if that's the way you want to go, you can't hardly mess up, because this little flap right here, or you can see this piece of sheet metal right here, that's actually the inner wheel well that I left of the Roadmaster. So, and if you look at it, I mean, it's just damn near, I mean, it's probably like 5/8. So when we slide it forward, that'll give us just like about 1/8 of an inch of gap there. And like I said, a guy can always come in here and feel that, but you can kind of see that it's going to be a pretty easy deal just to slide everything forward and kind of get a idea of where we're at. And I couldn't really show you in the last video because it was kind of dark in here, but here's where this back seat area comes out. So it actually almost looks like it was made for this thing. I mean, it was a little rusty. I boogered it up a little bit right in here when I was air hammering this out of here. But your back seat lays right along here, and the height for the lower cushion is just about right. So any guys familiar with the 2-door hardtops, they have that little C channel that runs all the way along the lower part of the floor, which actually looks like kind of a brace, but the main purpose of it is it has a hole to be able to snap the seat cushion in on the 2-door hardtops. Because with the 4-door sedans, 4-door hardtops, 2-door sedans, all of them, the back seat literally sets back just a little bit further, and it would be about this exact distance that we have here, you know. So I'm pretty damn sure that a you know, a 4-door sedan, 2-door sedan, 4-door hardtop, all of them, you know, the back seat should still lay pretty dang close to where it needs to be on this. I'll go ahead and grab a couple seats and we'll throw them in here. But another thing I tried was I kept the Buick Roadmaster rear seat. And if there's guys out there doing this and their seats are really in bad shape on the car that they're trying to redo, they can temporarily or even, you know, long term run the Buick Roadmaster back seats, because they actually almost fit in here. They're just a little tight on the edges, but you could make it work. And especially if you're doing a 4-door hardtop or 4-door sedan, you could actually run the front seats, you know, because since they don't have to fold forward or anything. So I mean, it'd be a way to get going on a budget and be able to drive the car a little quicker until you was able to do something different with the interior. So I'll try and get back out of here, and we'll. Oh, and another thing, I had another couple comments. People was wanting to know if there was a difference in the wheelbase between the 4 doors and the 2 doors, and there's no difference on 57 Chevys, station wagons, 2 doors, hardtops, sedans, wagons. All of them are 115 inches, and this whole, the stock floor design on a trifive is real close to where it wouldn't affect it anyway by using one of these Roadmaster or Caprice floors. It's going to be the exact same basic setup, whether it's 2-door, 4-door, or whatever. You still, if you want to do it this way, you can still come in here and just, locate right along that lip and just sit it right down on top of the Roadmaster rockers. So I'll try to make my way to the front here, and I'll kind of show you what this toe board looks like a little closer. Alright, so this is kind of what I left. I wasn't sure exactly what I left, so I always kind of leave a little extra when I'm trying to fit this stuff together. But as you can see, this is it. I kind of sliced it up here and give it a smack with the hammer before I set it down, because I knew it was going to be a little tight in that area. And the reason for that, like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to go with the stock toe board or not. So I left this little lip right here where you would actually drill the spot welds in case I go back with the original toe board. If I decide to go against that, I can go ahead and just cut this out, straighten that lip up. Like I said, cut a new smooth panel here, and then just bring it right up against here and weld that in. Now, since that tunnel is offset a little bit, if I come up to this stock tunnel area on the Tri-5, I'll have to do a little bit of hammer dolly work just to kind of make it match this when I fold this tunnel up. But it shouldn't be too hard to do. Like I said, all the guy has to do is come in here and just do one slice from here all the way. I wouldn't cut past this brace. There won't be no need to, because the transmission ends by then anyways. And this tunnel should just lift right up and attach right here pretty easy onto that. And like I said, you'll have a little bit of welding to put a piece in here on each side, but that's only if you do the engine setback. And there's really not unless you're really liking to do a lot of playing around on the street and racing and you want that extra weight transfer, there's really not a reason to hardly do that, because it looks like everything's you'll have enough clearance on the front to be able to get your fan and radiator and everything in there the way it looks so far. But we'll go ahead and get it all mocked up just to double check so I don't lead anybody wrong on that. So I think we'll go ahead and throw a seat in here real quick, kind of see how that fits, and then we'll slide this body forward and get another look at it. All right, well, we got the old Blue Goose slid forward that 1/2 inch there. And man, I'll tell you what, a lot of you people might be right. Heck, that extra 1/2 inch with that little bit more gap there on that rear wheel well, that might not be that bad. I kind of liked it the way it looked before, but shoot, I don't see where it looks a whole lot worse. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll her back, and we're going to get dead on straight with that front fender there and take a good look at that. We'll walk around over here, and I can kind of see here. Yeah, like I said, if you sight down that thing now, right down in here, it's pretty much right on the money here. If you sight down it, it's straight on. So that 1/2 inch is just right out of there. So that's dead on with what a stock wheelbase for the front would be on a 57 or Tri-5, as near as I can tell. So I'll roll her back here. I might throw a Krager on the rear that I'd found and get a double take of it. Well, I went ahead and put that Krager on there, and it has about a 26-inch tall tire, so it's a little short one. And that cheater slick was a little over 27. So we'll kind of take a look at that distance there in that wheel well. So I don't know, I'm kind of confused in here on what I want to do. Kind of go ahead and look at the front here, kind of get an idea how it looks. I might have to sleep on that a day or two, because kind kind of want to get that figured out before I, get that body off there and do a few things and then get it back down, because I don't want to burn it on there and then not be happy with it. But there's too many decisions here. Because like I said, a lot of people in the comments was acting like that wouldn't look too bad with that rear end back, and I'm kind of having to agree a little bit. I guess yeah, leave me your feedback. Like I said, comment and let me know what everybody else thinks here, and we'll have to go from there on that. And also, I storied to everybody, I said I was going to set that back seat of that Roadmaster in there, but man, with that cross bracing that I still have in here, man, it was fighting me pretty bad. I actually set it in there earlier on before I'd ever pulled this Blue Goose off the old original chassis, and I was amazed at how it fit. Like I said, it'd be an option for somebody out there if what you're doing, if you're doing a swap or something and you don't have the funds right now to do an interior, you could always use the Roadmaster stuff temporarily. But yeah, I guess feel free to leave me your thoughts. I'd appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody that's been commenting and giving me their thoughts on this. So I guess we'll catch up with you here on another day. And thanks to everybody that's been subscribing and following along on this. I'm going to try to get my YouTube set up a little better and create some playlists and stuff where it's got pretty much just the Goose build and some of the other stuff separate. That way it might make it a little easier, to kind of follow along on this stuff. So like I said, once again, thanks to everybody that's been watching, and stay safe, and we'll catch up with you later.